Normalcy bias. Speaks, Episode 8. You swim in the ocean with an undertow because the ocean looks safe. You ignore the sign for flash flood because the land looks dry. You eat the food in the third world country because the locals are well and everyone seems fine. You walk alone at night in the dangerous neighborhood because every time before you made it home safe. You cross the train tracks with lights flashing because you don't hear the train. You take the medication because the doctor said it was good and they should know better than you. You don't take action when you see signs that the boat is sinking because it was said to be unsinkable, so your mind dismisses it. You don't leave town when you hear that the invading army is headed your way because you've lived there all your life and it feels safe. You ignore stories of your government ethnic cleansing your people because how could anyone ever do something like that so awful? Normalcy bias is one of the most dangerous factors of human demise and tragedy human history has ever known. It sneaks up on you because you can't accept the premise that you're in danger and you need to act accordingly. At the basic level, normalcy bias is the fish not questioning why the bait is free. It can be applied to perception of events or perception of accepted norms. Often we hear narratives from news sources that paint a picture in our minds of how things are in the world. Narratives are simplified, usually biased versions of events meant to be consumable to the general population. We hear the story develop and form limited number of reasonable opinions that give us satisfaction and wondering. Narratives are pushed by those in positions of influence. If you don't matter, relatively speaking, then your narrative does not matter to the collective. It is by the nature of those in influence to push their narrative. Often, if we're not the type of person to discern what we are being told by those authorities, then by accepting those premises, we then adopt them into our working model of existence. Remember the circular logic loop of cognitive dissonance? Once you accept a piece of information as truth, it now rests behind your defenses and is protected by your ego. And because it's protected by your pride, it becomes hard to dislodge. For example, quote, such and such country is filled with evil people who only want everyone else's destruction. I know this because I saw it on the news. I would not watch things that are not credible. Therefore, the news I watch must be credible, unquote. This circular logic seems ridiculous, but it's the operating mindset of many people. This mindset puts people into a place of satisfaction. Their world makes sense. But like a slowly boiling frog, danger creeps in without setting off the alarm bells. Maybe it is a designated harmless chemical added to our drinking water. Maybe it is a pharmaceutical product that has been labeled safe and effective. Maybe it's a government legislating your community resources or rights away slowly. And one day, you find that it's no longer there to serve you. Normalcy bias turns off all the alerts that keep you alive when you recognize danger. Recognizing and discerning danger has to be one of those skills that you can't allow to tune out in the background. It is quite possible that the world you operate in is in fact a false construct built to create a sense of normalcy. I'm not saying that it is, but if it were, and that world was meant to lower your guard and take from you your will to correct it, so that one day you're too weak or too distracted to make a meaningful difference, then it would be very important to take the steps to make sure this kind of situation could never happen to you or your neighbor. The problem is that individuals or groups that benefit from a false narrative may in fact be power manipulators. The false narrative that keeps you in a state of compliance and part of the machine that keeps others in compliance as well. You become a built-in regulator of the system, the old analogy of the bucket of crabs. In that adage, it states that caught crabs will keep quote-unquote escaping crabs from leaving the bucket, thereby dooming them all. Again, I'm not saying that it is, but the statement that I like to use to determine if more critical thinking needs to be considered is as follows. If the situation that I'm experiencing is not a manipulation meant to cause me harm, it is not designed to keep me trapped or take from me in any way, it's all circumstantial, then how would an intentionally designed, manipulated experience be any different from what I am seeing now? If it is indeed working too well to your detriment to be a coincidence, then maybe you need to wake up and take a better assessment. Don't let normalcy bias tune out the alerts.